Hopefully my crazy red eye doesn't show too much in this dark, spooky video that I'm doing in my car. Um, I'm getting sick and tired of this debt ceiling conversation. But there are people calling it political theater. You know what is political theater? This debt ceiling, right? I think it's political theater because neither the Democrats nor the Republicans, can let us default because it destroys them. All they care about is themselves. All they care about is money. So why on earth would they do something that takes away money from them? A lot of money, right? It makes no sense. But this to me is a perfect duopoly synergy. This is one of the reasons why I want to talk about this, because this is yet again another example of how the Democrats and Republicans work together to screw us, the American people. So, as always, remember the general sort of tactic, right? Democrats will talk about issues of substance, things that are important, right? Their voters expect them to talk about things that matter, right? You can't get Democrats to vote for you just based on culture war stuff, right? You can't just go out there and say racism, 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 or whatever the culture war stuff. We need to do we do the trans something all inclusive, whatever, inclusivity, whatever. You can't do that, right? You gotta run on something of substance. You gotta talk about. We gotta bring up the wealth inequality. We gotta get salaries up, and we gotta do something about jobs. We gotta do something about healthcare, right? So you run on things of substance, but then you don't actually deliver, right? So you get people to vote for you by, oh, we're gonna fix this, fix that. And when you get in power, you find every excuse not to do it, right? So big talk, little action, right? The Democrats are the chihuahuas, right? Barking, barking, right? When it comes to actually like what you gonna do, you're a little chihuahua. You're about to do nothing. What you gonna do, right? That's the Democrats, right? Republicans all about culture war and trolling and whatever. But what's the synergy right here, right? Again, the Democrats don't really. They're both owned by their corporate donors, right? So ultimately, Democrats and Republicans don't want to do anything that hurts their donors, and what they want to do is what their donors want them to do, right? So keep that in mind. So, with the debt ceiling, right? Democrats will talk about, you know, this, whatever it is, whatever stuff that they think is gonna connect with their voters. But ultimately, so the Republicans are saying they want to cut spending, right? The things that they want to cut, most likely, this is what they do, is going to benefit the elites, going to benefit themselves, going to benefit the people at the top, right? So they want to do stuff for the 1%. They want to do stuff for their corporate donors, right? And they will pretend like they're going to tank the economy if they don't get their ways, right? But remember, the Democrats serve the same donors, right? Many times, literally the same donors. When I say same donors, I mean the elites, right? The 1%, right? So if the Republicans are supposedly fighting for things that benefit the elites and the 1%, the donor class. These are things that the Democrats want as well, but their voters again want them to feel like they're going to do something of substance, right? So they talk stuff of substance, right? So the Democrats are able to go along with what the Republicans are doing, but get away with it, right? They don't get punished for it because again, it's always pointing fingers at the other. So the reason why we allow these tax cuts for the rich, which benefits our donors, is because if we didn't do it, we would have had a default, which would have ruined the economy. So we had to do the responsible thing. We had to be the adults in the room, right? Again, this is a classic tactic of the Democrats, right? You allow the Republicans to do some garbage, right? That you want to do as well, right? But you set it up in a way where, there's this fake fight, right? Republicans are setting up to make us default, and we have to stop them. So we try to do a bipartisan thing, something, blah, 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 right? Yes, those tax cuts were for the rich, but the Republicans that did it, and we had to go along. We had to go along because if we didn't, the default. Listen, the Republicans are not going to allow us to default, right? Now, I say this as a person who absolutely believes very strongly that the Republicans the Republicans would, as a strategy, damage the economy in a serious way as a way to win in 2024. If the economy is in a really good state in 2024, that's really, really bad for them. And I see them as savages that would, in fact, try to damage the economy. However, having us default, that's a little bit too much, even for them. Like, they're savages, but they ain't stupid, right? They need a way to damage the economy in a way that doesn't affect them too much, right? So, I would say, I can't think of something right now on the spot, but maybe something like inflation, like, they do something that would add to inflation, or whatever it is. I can't, I'm not gonna think of that. I can't think of stuff like on the spot, but all I know is, in general, I would expect that they would look for ways to damage the economy that, again, they can limit how much it affects them, right? I mean, even a thing where they can prevent, like, for example, let's say something where like a company is going to go out of business, a major company, right? I could see them leading to making that happen, but if they're investors in a company, they would insider trading, sell their stuff ahead of time, and then allow it to fail, right? And then they can say, look what happened under Biden. These major companies, they fell apart because of the Biden policies, whatever. So I apologize, I can't think of something right now, but bottom line is, I definitely feel that they would damage the economy to benefit themselves, but there's limits to how much damage they're going to want to do, because, again, they do too much damage, it can affect them. They need a way to damage it in a way where they can protect themselves. So bottom line is, back to the topic. Defaulting? Hell no. So the Democrats and Republicans, in my view, are pretending as if they're having a fight, and they're pretending as if there's this, default, right? When they probably both know that ain't happening, right? So what's the goal again? The Democrats want the same things that the Republicans want. Not literally the same things, right? There's some level of differences, but generally speaking, again, who do they serve, right? They serve the money. Where's the money coming from? Big dollar donors, right? The elites, the 1%, right? The people that are funding them, that's who they care about. The stuff the Republicans are probably trying to squeeze in is going to be something that is going to benefit that class, the same class that the Democrats serve, right? Republicans, for some reason, get to be overtly savage, right? They'll go and put these bills and whatever, craziness, and somehow don't get penalized. The Democrats need to get to that same destination, but in a sneaky way where they can blame the Republicans, right? So the duopoly gives tax cuts to the rich. The Democrats can wash their hands and say, well, we only did it because of the debt ceiling. I mean, what do you expect us to do? This is what they always do. This is nothing new. This is Democrats 101, right? Duopoly 101. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think this debt ceiling stuff is real? Do you think that the Republicans would tank the economy? I mean, to that degree. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm going to pause and think about this for a second. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit of caution. All my arguments are based on my assumption that us defaulting is a major catastrophe. I'm not an economist, and maybe I'm incorrect in my assumption. It'll be damaging for sure and pretty serious, but again, what really matters is how much damage will it cause these Republicans. If it is feasible that this could be a short-term thing, and we would be back, what's the word? I don't know. Things would be more back to normal by the time 2024. I could see them doing that. If they believe that, yeah, it's going to be bad, but in a couple of years we'll bounce back. But it will paint the entire rest of Biden's term as just a major, I mean, just brutal financially for the country, and I can just pin it all on Biden. They might be willing to do that, right? The stock market would have a major crash, but if they knew they were going to do this, they would make their moves in terms of trading. I mean, because listen, if I were a Republican, see, sometimes you got to put yourself in somebody's shoes to really understand and do your analysis, right? If I were a corrupt Republican right now, I was looking to do something that I knew was going to crash the stock market, I would actually make a ton of money, very likely, basically using insider trading tactics. Because think about it, you're gonna essentially make the stock market crash in a big way, and this is gonna happen. I would start to close a lot of my positions, sell, liquidate a bunch of stuff, and then I would start short selling. I would start short selling a bunch of, major, blue chip stocks, right? And actually, if you knew this was going to happen, the way to really make money would probably be using options trading. I mean, because I'm pretty sure there's some options contracts that you could purchase that, man, I mean, Because I mean, you would be betting on something that no one else would expect, right? The probability will be so low that those kinds of scenarios are the scenarios where you can make a lot of money, right? People be willing to be very, very like, let's make a deal, trying to sell you a contract that they think is worthless, right? They're like, what is this contract? You're never gonna use this contract. I don't know if you guys don't understand how options work, but if you spend money there's a cost for the contract, and if things go your way with what you're expecting, then you utilize the contract to basically make a trade where it'll benefit you drastically. If things don't go your way and you're wrong, then you can just let the contracts expire. It's not a big deal. But again, you did pay for those contracts. That's an initial loss. That's just gone. But the price of the contract, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, would be, part of the factoring of the price would have to be the perceived value, right? Because think about it. How much money, if you're going to sell a contract, right, where, let's put it in other terms. Let's say a contract where, I can't think of how to make an analogy for this. You're selling a contract that you think is extremely worthless, and you know that most people will probably feel the same way. You're probably going to sell it for as cheap as possible, right? Because who's going to pay more than like bottom, like really, really low money, right? So a contract to buy or sell something at a ridiculous price in terms of, let's say for example, a contract to buy, a contract to sell Apple at like $10. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Why would you want a contract to sell it at $10? Because you think it's going to go down to $5. So imagine if it's selling for $5, and then you have a contract where you can sell it at $10, right? You're selling it for $5 more than the current market price. So that's something that's valuable. However, Apple is not going down to $5 anytime soon, right? So a contract to be able to buy Apple at $5 it's stupid, right? It's something where it's late at night. I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure I shouldn't get into like math stuff right now and trading at this hour. I'm exhausted. I've been working all day, but I guess I need to get into all those details. The bottom line is there are a lot of trading strategies where I could not only save myself from being damaged by the stock market crash, but in fact I could make myself the richest that I've ever been. If I were a multi-million-dollar Republican, I could make myself, I would say you could probably do something as drastic as double or triple or even more your money. So if I've got $10 million, I could make us default, make the stock market crash, and then end up with like 30, 40, 50 million dollars. I mean, that's insane. So with that in mind, I don't know. I would need to do a full analysis and fully understand what the implications are specifically to these Republicans. What damage could it or would it cause to them? And are there ways that they can avoid that potential damage? You know what I mean? Because again, that's what everything is all about. All that matters is their money and their power. So defaulting and it damages the country and blah, 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 irrelevant. Only matters their money, their power, right? So fully understand what the default would mean to them with full consideration for, measures that they can take to flip things in their favor. And that's what it is. But anyway, I think it's a joke. I don't think it's real. Tell me what your thoughts are. This is a debating channel. Do it in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. All right, guys. Time for me to get some Z's. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. My eyes are itchy. I need some more Visine.